Okay, now to get inside. Gotta be a way inside. That gear should lift the door. Not what I expected. There's gotta be more here. Footprints. That vanish. Okay. Big ol' do not push button. I'm gonna push it.
What's your burgundy shirt on? Are you playing with what's her name? Reggie? Did you text him?
Oh yeah, I texted him. He hasn't responded back.
It is to serve as your regional foundation member at large. I have the pleasure of serving with lovely women from the 6 other regions with NPD Sherelle as our National Executive Board Liaison. We meet minimally 3 times per month, of course monthly with NPD Sherelle and all of our
Where's the burgundy shirt?
What is the role of the member at large? As you can see from this slide, we are very busy. We serve on both sides of the house, the Jack and Jill of America, Inc. and the Jack and Jill of America Foundation. On the Inc. side, we are your fundraising, community service, volunteer hour, and grant go-to person. And on the foundation side, we are a board trustee.
I just want to make sure you do everything you need to do
Before
and we serve on several committees. Presently, I chair the governance committee as well as serve on the strategic planning.
The topic today is about parliamentary procedure. Do you want to know what that is?
Finally, as your
I'm going to explain it to you. When you're in a meeting, when I have to run meetings for Delta, the meeting has to follow a certain order. So like, if someone's running a meeting, then you're like, and you want to put like a motion on the floor, I move that we have a dance this spring. And then somebody will say, I second that motion. And then somebody says, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Anybody opposed? Nay. That's all part of parliamentary procedure. I am currently the parliamentarian for my chapter. So I am the person that makes sure that when Miss Rory, as the president, is going through the meeting, if someone wants to put a motion on the floor, I make sure that the motion is stated correctly and that everybody votes on it. Okay? So what y'all are going to learn today is about parliamentary procedure. Also, they put you on the events committee. So you have to check Discord. You don't have to check it now because you only got like 20 minutes before your meeting starts. Because through Discord, Capital League has been sending you messages. Okay? Alright, continue on, but I'm going to text Miss Angie.
Alright.
Coming out of here.
Hey, pulled network data. Webcam calls to the raft are definitely coming from here.
So cut the network connection, brick the computer, no more boss giving them orders.
Exactly.
The underground basement hideout where they planned all their takedown Harlem schemes. Cool.
Alright.
Can you help me run a hybrid attack?
But first,
Come on, look what I got. I'm gonna make you feel like I got something. Come on. This is nothing. Look, come on. This is nothing. Look, come on. Here. Out. Here you go. I'll be back. Cool.
VANESSA.
Vanessa?
If this setup belongs to who I think it does.
What is this? Who are you?
Oh crap.
Fisk.
A child playing dress-up, pretending to be Spider-Man.
I can sever the connection from here. Just keep him talking.
Fisk. I stopped what you're doing in Harlem. You're done in my neighborhood.
Your neighborhood? How touching. You'll learn that when you cross me, the people you want to protect are the ones who suffer.
What did that mean?
I don't know. But
I should head back to the park. Tell Haley I took care of these guys.
Oh, digging the new color. And away you moving. I got a step goal to hit. You was there a second ago. I think about how... Right. Never mind.
Whoa! Permiso. Spider-Man coming through.
Miles, Haley texted me. Fisk's guys are attacking CJ Walker Park.
I thought I took him out.
Some were scattered around the neighborhood. You've gotta hurry, man. They're going after people at the party.
Tell Haley I'm on my way.
walking away from this. I'm gonna pay you back for that. Stop moving!
Miles, just heard from Haley. She got everybody out in time. They're hiding in a deli nearby.
I was worried when I didn't see them. Tell Haley to keep everyone there till I'm done with these guys.
I will.
I need a sweaty punks like you!
Dale, graza.
Gonna end you! Drop! He's airborne! Get him!
What?
Got my eye on you! No! No! I'm gonna... Yeah! Come here! You asked for this!
Miles, just heard from Haley. She got everybody out in time. They're hiding in a deli nearby.
I was worried when I didn't see them. Tell Haley to keep everyone there till I'm done with these guys.
I will.
Let's dance, Spider-Man!
Aquí tienes.
You're gonna take all of us! You're dead! You're doing me like that, kid! Harder! I'm gonna end you!
Get off my block.
Get him on the ground! This is gonna hurt!
Harlem's tougher than you on your best day.
I'm gonna pound you! Here comes the pay!
Didn't you hear? Spider-Man's looking out for Harlem.
CJ Walker Park, where gunmen attacked during the King's Day parade aftermath.
Don't worry about it.
Dozens would have been harmed or killed if not for the intervention of Spider-Man, New York's second hero to go by that name.
It's my home, too.
Witnesses say Lungan carried out this attack on orders from Wilson Fisk.
I doubt that. Bye, Haley. Hope to see you again. This is done in Harlem thanks to us. And don't say no, Miles, thanks to you.
Okay, you're right. We did it together. How's it feel to be Harlem's friendly neighborhood Spider-Man?
Not gonna lie, pretty good.
Oh, almost forgot to tell you. Danica Hart heard what we've been up to. She wants me to come on her show.
That's awesome. You nervous?
Nervous? No, I mean... Oh, crap, what should I wear?
I don't think it matters, since it's a podcast.
What if she can hear that I'm wearing sweatpants? What if she wants to hop on webcam? Oh my god, I gotta get ready. Bye.
Great to see people like Caleb shopping again. Nice work.
I gotta check this place with Yankee sometime. It smells mad good. Man, I'm tired.
Oh my.
Harlem just has and that's that.
Really need to sleep.
Just a quick nap.
Mom. It's a clue for a scavenger hunt. Dad and I used to do these. Did she make a new one? I'm gonna check this out. See what Mom put together. Should get out of here. Check out the Natural History Museum. Voila. Your old TV is gone, but never forgotten. Scavenger hunt's not gonna hunt itself. Think I'm done in the apartment. City Councilwoman Rio Morales. Has a nice ring to it. I haven't been to the museum in forever. I think the last time was with Ben and Dad. Those trips are really fun. Weird to think
Are you
about
hungry?
now.
Yes.
I'll get you. I'll find you something to eat. You want a fish sandwich?
Do we have those?
Dad has one from yesterday. I could heat up for me because I know he doesn't want it.
Yes.
Okay.
Where's my computer? Oh, it's in the office.
You ain't got a sock on. Look at you. Look at you.
Oh, yeah,
Good
what's
picture,
up?
Crocs?
Okay, no socks.
Not in the office. It's probably your book bag.
Voicemail. Number's blocked.
Hey, Miles.
a lot about me. Things I've done, now that I'm serving time. Cut a plea deal, so it shouldn't be more than 2 years. But getting out early, it's not why I gave up Krieger. Told me I had to do better. And that meant looking out for other people. It cost you something.
Okay, so when
I don't have a lot of practice. But I'm trying. Thanks, kid. For making me a better man that I can be on my own. Take care out there.
Love you, Mom.
Nobody's seeing you. They don't hear you.
Okay. Natural History Museum. This one's of the Empire State Building. High atop the Empire State, you'll find a pair of blind eyes.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah. Should I close my door? Because he's going to come in and disturb.
Yeah, it's fine.
Alright.
Come out.
Yeah, that's fine.
There's a flash drive attached.
Hey, big man. Happy birthday. Scavenger hunt seemed like a fun way to celebrate 16. Tour down memory lane. Remember that summer you and Finn forced me to take you to the museum every weekend? Here's a secret. I love those trips. Used to be I felt guilty you didn't have any siblings. Things with your uncle are tough, man. But I would have never made it to 18 without you. Anytime I'd see you with Finn, I'd feel less guilty. You have a sister. Her. With Finn, now Genki,
Okay, all right, I know we still have individuals logging in. I have 104, so we're going to give them another minute and then we will get started. I do know we have a couple of meetings that we're running over.
Love you lots,
so
man.
we'll have
See you at the next
meeting from one meeting to another with GPS Box.
Wow. I haven't heard his voice in so long. I hope he left more messages with the rest of the scavenger hunt.
So for the time being, I do have all mic muted. Once you should be able to unmute your mic to speak. Let's go for the first couple of minutes, just leave them muted until we get past the intro. And then once I introduce at least the brothers on our side and our chapter leaders on our side, then we'll do a handoff to introduce everyone on the other side. Just checking to see if my officers are on the call. Yeah, I see Dorothy is here, Dylan is here. Good, all right. So look, as always, we like to start on time, so good afternoon, everyone. Hopefully everyone can hear me, hopefully everyone can see me. For those who are meeting me for the first time and seeing me on video, at least not my camera viewers, they have seen me before. I am the guy right here for the Nero Show, White Plains, Capital League alumni. We do have guests today, but first, before we get to our guests and our guest speaker, I want them at least to get to know who we are, our I'll just keep it at the officer level, because I know we have a lot of tackle leaders that's joining the call. But also want to make sure that we at least acknowledge the brothers who are on the call as well. So first, I'll start out with the brothers, and then I will go to our officers for the capital league. So if you can unmute and maybe say greetings this afternoon, that would be great. And I'll start out with our brother Brian.
All right, good afternoon. Thank you, Brother Schiller. Hope all is well, and my prayers to every family and household represented here.
Brother Matthews, are you there? Okay, the officers are there. Okay, then let me move on to Brother Robertson. Are you there?
Yes, good brother. Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for having me. It's a pleasure every time I've had the opportunity to you guys. I'm so impressed, and I always look forward to learning from you guys. So it's a pleasure, and I hope all is well, and hope all of the family is well. And happy holidays.
Thank you. Brother Nichols.
Good afternoon, everybody. Just like to say, I'm looking forward to the session today, and be checking with y'all later.
And then we'll go to our officers. I know we'll have other brothers join the call, so I'll make sure that they get a chance to have some closing remarks.
Spider-Man!
Also, so we'll start out with our middle school president.
Careful!
Captain Dylan.
Good afternoon.
Empire State Building.
Doing well.
Let's check the clue.
Looking forward to a great meeting.
High atop the Empire State, you'll find a pair of blind eyes.
And our high school president, Captain Michael Jones Bay.
Good afternoon, everyone. Hope you have a
Museum
very
in
good
Greenwich. I remember that place.
Two things.
Find the fossil hiding among the modern. Don't forget to look up.
Our guests. First, for all our Catholics, we want to see your
5th grade field trip. Empire State Building. I shadowed. Never agreed to wrangle a bus full of teen son. Took us 3 hours to get here, and when we did, who showed?
You're going to step away, you can turn your video off and make sure you turn it on when you come back. Okay? So without further ado, let me introduce you to our guest speaker who's going to cover our workshop on Intro to Parliamentary Procedures, Dr. Williams.
The webhead himself.
Dr. Williams, you have the mic, and I'm going to be...
As soon as we stepped off the elevator, we had to turn right back around again and evacuate.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. It is a pleasure being here today. I'm very familiar with your work. Captain Leaders. I actually follow you on social media. And I'm always so impressed to see the activities that you're doing and the work that you're doing in your chapter. So thank you for allowing us to take up time that you're meeting today. I'd like to briefly introduce my board, most of which are here from the parliamentarians of Westchester, New York. If you could just give a quick wave, my vice president, Michael Vernon, who has done work with your Capital League in the past. Treasurer Regina Williams, Madam Secretary Shalima McCants, and our parliamentarian Orson Williams. Again, it's a pleasure to be here. I bring you greetings to not only your chapter president, but also to the middle school and high school president board. This is just wonderful to see. So I think I'll get right into it. Thank you.
Dr. Williams, I'm sorry.
Yes.
Okay. Here's the Modern Art Museum.
Okay.
Looks like
All
I'm
right.
going to see
Let me go ahead and take care of that.
Where money is king, you'll find great tunes hanging among the lights.
I can take care of it. I just
I had to practically drag.
Okay, yes. Let me go ahead and give you the host privilege back so that you actually have
What do we care about splotch paintings?
the ability to take on your device.
We had to show you kids.
While y'all do that real quick, Michael Jose, Kamari. You guys should know this already. Remember me, both you guys. I remember both of you. I think, Michael, you were the vice president the first time I did
All that orange.
Yeah, I remember you. I remember.
Don't think you're the real
Okay.
guy.
So you guys should be able
And
to
I heard
figure
you
out
did
right, Kamari? Okay. Okay, I remember you guys. I got a good memory. I'm old, but I'm smart.
Okay, so I'm just trying to figure, you know what, maybe I'll just make you the host. That's how we do that.
Finn and I talked about that trip for months after.
Yes.
Would be chapter meeting. And you see that? See the creature
Mom and Dad really knew how to
fine.
inspire.
This works. This co-host.
Hold on. I got it.
Okay, continue on.
Now I made you the host. So yes, in the meantime, yes, some of you may actually have been exposed to parliamentary procedure. Mr. Vernon, good to go? Okay. So some of you have been exposed to it, whether through Mr. Vernon, or you may not even realize that you've been exposed to parliamentary procedure. So I'm going to tell you how as I go through this presentation. All right, am I back on?
On this very
You just make me
special
co-host
episode,
if that's
I'm
okay.
joined by newly elected Councilwoman Rio Morales of Parliament, who has been instrumental in the effort to scale back
Awesome. Thank you so much. So I'll go ahead and share my screen now. How many of you have ever seen maybe like your student government meeting in high school, or you've watched maybe a session even on C-SPAN where you've seen like Congress or any of those big meetings? Just do a quick hand raise or just mention it in the chat if you have. So elements of what's going on in that meeting is parliamentary procedure. And let's see, as soon as I hit start, can everybody see my screen? Yeah. Okay, excellent. Thank you. Okay, great. So, why are we here? We're the parliamentarians of Westchester, New York, which is actually a chapter of the National Association of Parliamentarians. So similar how you're in the Kappa League, and there are Kappa Leagues all over the country, and a unifying body, we have a similar structure at the NAP. Why we are here is because one of the core mandates in the Westchester unit is to take the study of Robert's Rules and parliamentary procedure and bring it to middle schools and high schools and organized groups to teach you how to effectively run your meetings. And so this is the book that we work from. You may have seen it before, in your house if your parents are in any organizations and church boards. But that's the book we work from.
Some prisoners have taken hostages.
And why is this important to us? It's important because most businesses and social groups and nonprofit groups, anything that we call a deliberative assembly or even a legislative body, as I talked about earlier, like Congress, will use Robert's Rules to run their meetings and be effective. And as registered parliamentarians, we want to arm you with this information because you're going to move on and probably do things like student government, join a fraternity, join your professional organization, and we want to expose you to this information early. Parliamentary procedure is a series of rules on how to conduct business at your meeting. Here, it sounds like it's this big, lofty thing. And it is, but it's really not. It's just a way to organize your meetings and conduct yourselves in a professional manner in meeting. And you're very familiar with that now because I see that you're teaching these skills or learning these skills in Kappa. Why is it important? Because, parliamentary procedure is a proven way of doing business, and it can be adapted to fit the needs of your organization. But the book that I showed you, Robert's Rules, is a basic handbook for operation in your club. So your organization may have specific rules for your organization that tells you what to do. And Robert's Rules essentially tells you how to do it. So it's just the basic rules of procedure. You probably get agendas for every meeting. You likely do. And even if you don't, you may have seen it in other organizations. And it looks something like what you're seeing now, where you have a call to order, they take attendance, you know, maybe in a roll call situation. There's Michael Jones Bay here, is Dylan Bryant here. And then they read the minutes, which is, the minutes are really just, you know, what happened at the last meeting. So, you know, someone goes through and reads the minutes to talk about the things you voted on in your last meeting. You get officer reports. So your president may have a report, the treasurer may share a copy of the budget, which is, you know, the treasurer's report. And committee reports you also typically get during meetings, and that's going to be on the agenda. Membership may report on the number of people who attended a meeting and the activities that are coming up for membership, or if you're having a party and you want to raise money at the party, that's you know, that committee, the fundraising committee, may give a report at the meeting. Special orders. So special orders are important pieces of business that occur in not every meeting, at some designated meeting. So an example of the special order is elections. When you go to elect your next president and it's, you know, your next treasurer, your secretary, that is an example of special orders that happen in a meeting. Then you have things like your unfinished business, your new business, and announcements, and then the adjournment. Oh, but people go home. Or when the meeting's over, I should say. So, what is a motion? A motion is something that you're doing at every meeting and not even realize it. If you, let's say you want to host an event, using parliamentary procedure to move something through, someone would make a motion or express themselves by giving a proposal that the audience or the entire membership can take action on. So there are 4 types of motion. There's a main motion, which I'm going to give examples of this throughout the presentation. A main motion is a piece of business that you would like your organization or your body to consider. A subsidiary motion is another motion that changes the first motion. So we're going to do examples of this together. A privileged motion is an urgent piece of business, sometimes that interrupts the pending business that's on the floor. So let's say you're talking about this idea of having that fundraising party that I mentioned earlier, but there's this big, lot of noise going on in the background. So a privileged motion is something where a member would stand up and say, you know, there's too much noise going on in the room, and I can't hear what's going on. That's an example of a privilege motion. And then finally, an incidental motion, the purpose of that is to kind of question the procedure that's happening. So an example is maybe someone, you're not sure things are going right, and you want to really, like, say to the president or to the chair of your meeting, hey, is that going right? You know, I rise to a point of order, for example. Are you doing this incorrectly? There's a way to frame that language, but that's the 4th type of motion, incidental.
It's been a while, huh?
So,
You must be glad
how
you're
do we
coming
do
back.
all this incidental motion and
surprised people let her go.
Well,
MJ's
you're
profile
doing
was
it
by
now.
calling her cold, calculating,
So
and
let's,
humorless.
for example,
Lavish praise in
motion is
Sicaria.
presented,
They're basically BFFs
and
now.
the first thing you do is
Now
you
that's a
obtain
cool team up.
So you wait for the last person who spoke to finish
Tuesday.
speaking. That's
Bye.
the most
And
important
thanks again.
thing. Not talking over each other. You wait for the last person to say something, and then you rise and you say to your president or your presiding officer, Mr. President, and then you wait to be recognized. The second thing you do, you make your motion. Mr. President, I move that we have a bowling event to raise funds, for example. That's an example of a main motion. You always state your motion in a positive way. So you don't say, I move that we don't do such and such anymore. No, you want to state it positively so that we know what you want to do. And you also, when you're stating your motion, You don't make it personal or emotional. You stay on the topic and talk about issues so that the body can consider that issue and you move forward. Now, if I make a motion to have a bowling event, we don't just start talking about having a bowling event. In parliamentary procedure, a second person would stand up and say, I second the motion. And so once you do, and the reason
the underground and Roxxon are fighting near innocent
is because typically when there's an issue that you want to bring in front of the body for discussion, just because I want to talk about it doesn't mean everybody else
innocent people will get hurt.
So what you do is that second person stands up and say, I second the motion, and that essentially says to the body, okay, more than one person wants to discuss this, so let's discuss it. So the third thing that would happen is that the presiding officer or the president would say, it is moved and seconded that we have a bowling event in order to raise funds. This way, when the president says that, it assures that everyone understands what we're considering, and it places the motion before the membership for action and for consideration, right? So when the president says that, that means the rest of you as members have the opportunity to say, okay, let's think about this. And once that motion is presented to the body by the presiding officer or the president in this case, that becomes the property of the membership. Meaning, now it's our turn. As members, we get to discuss it, we get to think about it, and the person who made that motion can't just jump up and change it unless they have the permission of the members to make a change. And then the membership talks about, in this case, the bowling event. So, in that scenario, before the membership gets to go and discuss it, the person who made the motion or brought the idea to the body is usually the first person to speak on it, to talk about why they had the idea that they had. And when you're discussing these ideas, guys, you should be directing your comments to the president, not to anybody else in the room, because we want to make sure that these discussions don't get personal, that you stay on topic. There's always a time limit for everybody being able to speak, so that pretty much anybody in the room, whether they're for the idea or against the idea, they get to think about it and be part of the discussion too. And then the person who, brought up the idea, which is in this case the mover of the motion, they get to speak again after everybody else has gotten a chance to speak, and then that's it.
Dr. Williams? Dr. Williams? Can you hear me?
Moving it from discussion to a vote. So then after everyone has talked, the president will say, everyone will say, the question is on having the bowling event as our fundraiser. And then they call for the vote. Now, in response, the members, or, the president can say, okay, I want to take a vote, and we're going to take a vote in the following ways. And I'm going to go through the different ways that members can vote on a motion. The president could actually just do it by voice and say, all those in favor, aye, say aye. All those opposed, say no. So that's one way, and that's called a voice vote. The second way they can do it is to go through a roll call, where I go through the list and I say, member A, and then he or she says yes or no. And you go all the way down the line through all of the members, which can be a little bit lengthy, but at least this way you know how everyone voted. If you think you have an issue, right, the president, you think you have an issue where nobody's going to really disagree, the president can just say, if there is no objection, we will have the bowling event as the fundraiser. And then the president actually pauses to see if the room remains silent. And that is called general consent. Okay, I see a hand raised. Let me pause for a second. Hold on.
Sorry, Karen, to interrupt you. I believe we had a question while you were presenting.
Okay. Thank you. Sorry about that. I couldn't see the chat box. So, did someone have a question? What, Shalima?
Yes.
Can you?
So,
No, you
a
did.
couple of questions, and my
Yes.
apologies. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yeah. Just a couple of questions. Especially for our officers and our peers. We have many peers. So, with the president, I guess going back to slide, with the agenda that you presented in your slide deck, that's the typical agenda that's always on parliamentary procedures?
It's typical, but thank you for asking that question. That's a typical agenda. However, you may be able to revise the agenda based on the needs of the organization that day. So, for example, I may have a meeting, and let's say we have only officer reports but no committee reports. Then you don't have to list it.
All right.
But this is typically anything that can be in an agenda, yes.
Okay, because that's a topic that I know I've discussed with our officers in terms of making sure we have an agenda item. So officers, you want to take a good look at that. I don't know if you're going to share that slide deck, but you want to make notes.
I sure will.
Make notes of that because we always talk about the agenda. And then the other question, and I know you're going to go through an exercise, so I won't belabor the point. With making a motion, you said all motions typically should be directed toward the officer, which is the president. Is that typically parliamentary procedure?
Yes, it is. Yes, it is. Thank you for asking that as well. So when you have a question, comment, you want to make a motion, all of that goes to the presiding officer or your chair or your president in this case. And the reason for that is because Robert's rules require us to really direct all discussion with the chair. It keeps the business moving forward. It keeps you from having side conversations, and it keeps the decorum in the room, or it keeps it from getting personal.
Every day after that. Even once we should.
Thank you. And then I know you again,
she went into
the future question, right?
I blame you.
There's any questions coming? So I know the council may have some questions, so they can put it in the chat.
I'm not gonna lie, son.
Yes, and I apologize for not saying so earlier. Please, if you have questions, listed in the chat. But I'm also going to do a Q&A session. So definitely,
Mom totally knew
right, keep your questions.
Let him
we'll
have
come
his
back
secrets.
to the slide so that I can
We were a
clarify
good team.
things. But if you'd like, please, just to have it, I'll send the slide deck, but go ahead and take a picture of the agenda setup of those who have to create agendas for all of your meetings,
Good news,
which is
friends.
typically your
Beast
president.
North is back on its feet. And guess who?
Absolutely.
That's right, the new Spider-Man. Y'all, what does this guy do? Okay, if you have pictures of Spidey cleaning up Beast.
Excellent. All right. Okay, so we went through voice votes. We went through the roll call where you call each name and they say they vote out loud, which is typically can be used anytime except when you're supposed to do voting by secret ballot. So, for example, if you have an election, of officers, that's probably not the time you want to call on someone and say, how are you voting? Because you want to ensure the privacy of the vote. General consent is when you say, if it's not going to have too many objections or no objections, the president can say, if there's no objection, we will host the bowling event for the fundraiser. And then you stop to listen to see if anyone actually objected. And if they didn't, then that's the vote. Two other ones by division. Division is a slight, basically it's verifying the voice vote. So you know how sometimes You may say all in favor say aye, all opposed say no, but you know it's a little close. Can't really tell, you know, which side won. Then by division, basically you would ask members to raise their hand or stand up, you know, in place of the voice. So you would say all in favor say aye with a raised hand. Raise your hand or stand up. All opposed stand or raise your hand. And then the last way that we'll cover in this presentation is by ballot, which is, you know, a slip of paper when you were meeting in person. And some people have used technology that will allow them to hold prices, like election money and things like that. So
you escaped the prison convoy but stayed in the
that's typically what it is. Like a ballot is basically a ballot. So I'm going to ask Regina Williams to help me with this section, and we're going to practice. And let me see if I can see this. Regina. Okay. I'm here, Madam President. Okay. So for those who may not have heard, Regina Williams, Miss Regina Williams, is our treasurer in the Parliamentarians of Westchester. And so we're going to just go through this exercise. I can't see you on my screen, but I'll hear your voice, and as long as you can see, we're good to go. Oh, there you are. Okay. Yes, absolutely.
I was just wondering if all the ways that you showed for voting, is that like some of the only ways that you can do it, or like the most ideal ones?
Excellent question. Those are the most ideal ones. I mean, certainly, and I would have to pull my book, but and those are not the only ways, but those are the most common ways. Mr. Parliamentarian, am I correct?
Yes, you are. So, depending on your organization and depending on the needs of,
for a minute, methinks.
you know, what business you're taking care of. These are the most efficient ways to vote that were listed, but there are additional ways depending on what your needs are. If it's a legislative body, if it's some other kind of organization, you may want to vote in other ways. But these are typically the most common.
Thank you so much. And I'm looking for your officer list. Do you all have parliamentarians within your group?
Madam Chair, I don't see that listed in the list that they gave.
No, we do not. We have officers, but not just a certified officer. That is not a role that we have at this time. But
that's no problem.
I have the list of the officers. So,
I have it up now. I have it.
Oh, okay.
I do have it. So I just wanted to explain what a parliamentarian is in this sense, and the reason why I called on mine. A parliamentarian is an advisor to the president, and really, the parliamentarian typically does not speak in meetings, but Zoom has changed a little bit of the role of the parliamentarian. As president, you want to always make sure that
turned out to be the mad bomber known as Mr.
you are and doing the right things, and so in this case, your advisor probably do serve in that parliamentary role. We're just in that role to say you're doing the process correctly. So everybody has an advisor, and it's a good thing to have. So, Miss Regina, I'm going to start, okay, as the chair.
It's tax deductible.
All right.
I'm
So,
donating 10% of my paycheck.
is there a motion on the floor that we donate
No, I'm hearing
$1,000
Spider-Man may have
to
been responsible.
the Arts Westchester?
No way.
The chair recognizes. Okay. So the chair recognizes Regina Williams.
Madam President, I move that we donate $1,000 to Arts Westchester.
Is there a second?
I second. That would typically be a second person, though.
That would typically be a different person. So maybe in this case, Mr. Vernon would jump up and say, I second.
I second.
Excellent. It is moved and seconded that we donate $1,000 to Arts Westchester. Is there any debate? Okay.
So we don't hear any debate. And really, this is the opportunity that gives members a chance to really weigh in on the question. We haven't heard any debate, so that in this case, the president or the chair would say, the question is on the motion that we donate $1,000 to Arts Westchester. All in favor, say aye. Aye.
Aye.
All opposed, say no. Thank you. At that point, the chair or the president rules on the motion, and based on the number of ayes versus the noes, the chair would say, the ayes have it, the motion is carried. We will donate $1,000 to Arts Westchester. The next item on the agenda is, and then you move on to the next item. So, gentlemen, we will be going through this process. First, I'm going to give you some reminders, and then what I'm going to do is I'm going to start maybe with, let's see, once we go through this again, maybe I'll do it with with President Dylan Bryant and then President Dawson Matthews, and then we're all going to do this, so it'll be fun. Just a few quick things before we move on and before we start. Just remember that when you're making a motion, if you can't make a motion that goes against your rules, right? So if you say you make a motion that goes against your rules, your president would be in order, would be able to say that motion is not in order. So there's nothing that is going to be allowable.
You don't have to let him out. Do you understand me?
Also, remember to obtain the floor properly. Obtaining the floor properly we covered a little bit earlier, which you wait for everyone else to stop speaking, and then you rise.
Responsible, but it wasn't
Raise your hand and say,
Follow the money.
Mr. President,
Who benefits from
Madam
lower
President,
property values?
And I'm going to stop, because we have a strict policy of not saying anything that will get me sued. Incidentally, I'm pretty sure Spider-Man can't afford it.
Concisely,
He wasn't Spider-Man.
We're out of here.
Courteous,
Thanks so much for joining us, Gloria. And remember, everyone, if you want to be a real hero, not like a certain masked man,
the president
donate to
cannot get up in
Jared,
the front
Mike
of the
before
room
I end up in the
say,
poorhouse.
well, I think we should do it this way. As the president, you are really managing the process of the meeting and moving with the desires of your membership. So this process of parliamentary procedure is about empowering the
robbers are breaking into a store nearby.
And no argument, which I could probably stand to share with some of my others. So, I'll go back. First of all, let me take any questions, if there are questions, before we try this.
Yeah, people spending money.
I don't think I see any questions.
Easy to
no, I can't see the chat. No. None at this time, Madam
Those
President.
people are definitely
Thank you so much.
but now we got two
The president for the middle school is Dylan and the high school is Michael. Oh, thank you. Okay, that was reading it the wrong way. Thank you so much, Madam Treasurer. Maybe I should be more loud.
You guys should abandon your life of crime.
Okay.
You're not good at
Dylan Bryant. Where are you? Let me see. Right here. Hello. Hi.
I walked by Rockside Plaza the other day, and honestly,
your mom. Very good to meet you, Mr. President. So you ready? Let's have you, as the president, serve as the chair. Is that okay? Yes. Yeah, let's try it. Let's have you as the president. I will be member number 1, and Miss Regina will be member number 2. So let's try this. And all of us will have a turn in this. So whenever you're ready to start, the graphic is up.
So I would act as the chair, correct, right?
That's right, Mr. President.
Is there a motion on the floor that we donate $1,000 to Art Westchester?
Mr. President?
Yes.
All right, so you would say the chair recognizes?
The chair recognizes that there is a motion on the floor that we donate $1,000 to Art Westchester.
All right, very good. So you would recognize me first, and then I will say, I move that we donate $1,000 to Arts Westchester. And
Is there
okay, go ahead, Mr. President, you're up.
Is there a second?
I second.
It is moved and seconded that we donate $1,000 to Arts Westchester. Is there any debate?
Enters this artsy castle without CJ Walker Park. I know this place up in Harlem.
Hey, wait a minute, is somebody singing?
Where you learn to fly.
I love that.
Your journey comes to an end.
Who said that?
Me, Ross.
Okay. So in this case, listen, all right, I think we're on the advanced track, Mr. Vernon. You taught this group very well. So, okay, in that case, let's have a quick discussion. We act like we had a discussion.
Our son and our almost daughter graduating at the top of their class.
Let's say, what would you say? Look,
I know it made you sad, both of you.
Rozzy, am I saying that right?
Yeah, but you can just say Roz.
But now, as I'll tell you, the friendships you
Roz,
make with
very
me,
good. Okay,
the real ones,
Roz, let's just say you did have
you and Finn will find each other.
a question or you had a debate.
A few years down the line,
for example, what would you say?
One or two left.
I vote that
can't wait to get
instead of donating $1,000 to our Westchester,
Finn and I did find each other again.
We moved to
it's not the way Dad thought.
If you ever wanted to stop an out-of-control helicopter, check the marker.
For discussion that are focused on things that relate to a TV in the meeting room for Sports Center, and money to chip in for actually good snacks.
Okay, so pause right there.
This is
That's
it.
excellent.
CJ Walker
That
Park.
is an excellent example of what happens in meetings all the
Where you
time.
learn
So
to
let me
fly,
tell you what
your
you would
journey
say,
comes
Bill.
to an end.
In this case, you would want to, the motion that's on the floor is dealing with the $1,000 donation. So what you would say to that member, whose point is legitimate and should be discussed at some point, what you would say is, what you would say is you ask for a discussion, it's been moved and seconded, and you would thank that person for that comment, and you would ask for other discussion. Because really and truly at the end of the day, you still have to deal with the question about $1,000 to Arts Westchester. So this member is essentially telling you he doesn't agree that that's where the money should go. So as president, you would thank him for that comment and ask for additional questions, okay? So let's just say that Ron said what he had to say, and a couple of other members have said what they had to say, and everybody is done talking. So what I'd like you to do is jump down to the line that says, if there is no further discussion, or when there's no further discussion, then you would say, the question is on the motion that we donate. So go ahead and say
I
that.
just want to add something that I would also vote for a PS5 in the meeting room.
Very good. All right, very good suggestion. So the president.
Say aye.
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 All opposed, say, go ahead, the next part.
All opposed, say no.
No. Okay, so we're gonna act like the motion carries.
So many members.
And you say the next part that comes up for chair.
CJ Walker.
The chair then rules on the
Remember
motion
when we played
based on
ball
how
for
many
the summers?
ayes and noes there are. Assuming the ayes have it, Chairman, the ayes have it, the motion is carried. You will donate $1,000 to our Westchester.
Your uncle
Next
showed you how to
item
take
on
it
the
to the rack.
agenda is
Well, I demonstrated how to
Well,
think about
listen,
it before.
this sounds like this
Don't
would
think
be
I'll
a
ever forget
fabulous
watching you and Finn
discussion.
trying to alley-oot to your mom. This
Excellent
place
job.
reminds me of as crazy as life
Excellent job
Only
to
one
Mr.
thing
President,
the people you love.
Dylan and Roz. That was
your mom,
excellent.
Finn,
yes,
Your
go ahead.
question. What if the nose had it?
Keep the folks you care
Good
about close to
question.
your heart.
Let's do
You'll
that.
never go wrong.
So I'll be the chair
Happy
in this
birthday,
case.
big man.
So,
You are a
all
reason
in
for being
favor
great.
say aye. Aye. All opposed say no. No. Okay, the noes have it, the motion goes in yeses, then the motion failed. And then someone else has to come up with another idea. And maybe that's where you would bring up the idea about where else
Just finished the scavenger hunt.
That was an
Thank
excellent
you so much for
example.
putting it
I'm
together.
gonna try it again
For a little while, it was
with
like
our
he was
high
back.
school president.
Never left me.
Michael Jones Bay.
I love you.
I love you,
Michael
Mom.
Jones Bay. And this time I'm going to have no, we'll keep Regina, are you okay being member 1 again and I'll be member 2 again?
No problem, Madam Chair.
Okay. Mr. Jones Bay?
Is there a motion on the floor that we donate $1,000 to Arts Westchester? The chair recognizes Miss Karen Williams.
Thank you. I move that we donate $1,000 to Arts Westchester.
Is there a second?
Today,
I second.
I want to address some rumors.
It is
making
moved
around
and seconded that we donate $1,000 to Art Westchester. Is there any debate?
Wilson Fisk has been trying to destabilize Harlem
So
in
you
order
would have
to
to
make
wait
it
to be
cheaper and
recognized.
easier for him to
But
acquire
yes,
property.
you did that
All
correctly
from
again.
behind bars.
And so
Now,
again in
you
this
all know my
case,
distaste
he would
for
say
conspiracy.
he would start off the
If there's
debate.
proof,
Somebody
I will
else
be the
would
first
jump
to
in with their
condemn
point. Another
But
person would
until
jump
that
in with their
happens,
point
it is
until
poisonous,
pretty much everyone
irresponsible,
has had the
and
chance to
wrong
speak
to repeat such
in
baseless and
favor of the motion
inflammatory
and
claims.
against the
That's
motion.
the kind of
'Cause you
behavior
wanna
I'd
be
expect
able to
from
hear
someone
both sides.
like Spider-Man.
So now
Several
there's no further debate. President Jones Bay, go ahead
Gonna
and
make
pick
you
it
proud.
up.
Okay. The question is on the motion that we donate $1,000 to Arts Westchester. All in favor, say aye.
Aye. Aye. Aye.
Aye.
All opposed, say no.
No. Okay. So you're gonna act, think about, act like you heard the ayes and noes and you come up with a decision. Who has it, Mr. Chairman?
The ayes have it. The motion is carried. We will donate $1,000 to Arts Westchester. The next item on the agenda is.
Excellent, excellent, excellent. Oh, this is an advanced group. So what I'm going to do, Philip, if you don't mind, as you mentioned, maybe is this the time for a bathroom break or bio break, the water break? What's your thinking? I can't even see you anymore. Sorry about that.
Yeah, we want to give him a break. I know we usually go for an hour. I just have one question before we give him at least a quick break. Question I have is when the chair recognizes someone on the floor, what is the appropriate address?
Excellent question. So, Mr. President, it's typically the Mr. President or President Bryant, or Mr. Chair. And typically, you wait, as we talked about, we wait for the last person to finish speaking and you raise your hand. You call out when there is an issue related to noise or there's something happening in the room that's preventing the members from understanding what's going on. So that person can interrupt and say, Mr. Chair, there's too much noise going on in the back. We can't hear what's going on. And then the chair, makes sure that the room is settled and then moves back into the business.
I have a question.
Let me mute everyone for a moment.
Yes, someone else had a question?
Yes, me.
Yes, Mr. Jean-Pierre.
So like a chairman, could any idea be turned down? Or an idea to read? I don't know how to say it.
Okay. Well, say the best you can, and then I'll see if I can understand. Make sure you correct me if I'm wrong.
like vetoed?
Veto?
Turned down?
So, that's a great question. Say that again? So, let me make sure I'm understanding what you're asking. If, say a member, right? I'm a member and I have an idea. You're asking whether the chair or the president can just turn your idea down.
Yeah, like without a vote or something.
Okay, great question. So, unless unless you're bringing up an idea that's breaking a rule, the president should actually ask, is there a second? Because once you have a second person who wants to discuss the idea you're bringing up, then it's not going to go anywhere. If you have someone, like, let's say, Mr. Jean-Pierre, you believe that we should have the bowling event for the fundraiser, and the chair says, is there a second? And someone says second, then the body must discuss it.
Oh, okay.
Make sense?
Makes sense. Thank you.
Very good.
Can I throw one thing in there with that?
Yes, please, Mr. Vice President.
So, just so everybody understands, just because you second it doesn't mean you agree with it. It just means you want everybody to talk about it. So, if you want to talk about it, but you don't agree with it, you want to give your reasons why you don't agree, you can still second it to make sure that it's okay to talk about. So, just because you second it doesn't mean you agree with it. Everybody understand that? Yeah, I see the heads nodding. All right, cool.
Excellent. And that's an excellent point. You may not even agree with the idea that the person says, but you're agreeing that this should at least be discussed. And I tend to find sometimes after hearing the explanation, that's not such a bad idea. Maybe we should be open to it. But you don't have to agree with it, to say second. It just means you want the discussion to happen about the idea that Mr. Jean-Pierre brought up. These are excellent questions. That was my own hand. Sorry. Oh, I see a question.
There is one question in the chat. I have a question. Sure. I have a question about the chairman. I understand that the chair should not be proposing ideas that's good for political and larger groups. But in a smaller group, you're going to want as many ideas as you can, right? So you can come up with the best one.
So great. That's great. And think of it this way. If you are in a meeting, the chair, no matter how large or small, so I may have my unit meeting, which is my big chapter meeting, or my small board meeting, typically the president really should remain neutral, no matter what. Now, if you're in a committee where you're exchanging ideas back and forth, then yes, the president can absolutely say what they think in that setup. But when it's coming to a place where you now have to go and vote on it as a body, then that's really where the president should remain neutral. Does that make sense? Okay, great, thank you. All right, so I think we're getting close to your break time. How long is your break typically?
If I give you guys, we'll give them 5. Let's see. Listen, because we're remote. We'll give them. Let's give them 5. I have 1:55. So let's start back at 2:05. That'll give them enough time to stretch your legs and do whatever they need to do. And gentlemen, can you return back at 2:05 with videos on? So that way we know we're ready to start. Don't go anywhere. Stay online, but to give you a chance to stretch your legs and go take a bio break and come back, and we'll start at 2:05. Okay?
And is that a question that Mr. Nathaniel has? We can cover that when we come back. Is that a yes on your question? Okay, great.
Okay. So I'm still on the call, and I know we have someone else on the call who you will recognize. So I'll give him a chance to say some words quickly. Brother Beaumont? You? He probably stepped away. Jordan is on the call. All right, so 205. Okay.
Thank you.
Yeah. All right.